Just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if it's sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 208. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benesowitz, and we are presented by DraftKings. The New York Knicks, losers to the Houston Rockets on the road, 105-103 on a wild, controversial, game-ending foul call on Jalen Brunson. We'll break that down. But, of course, the Nets, winners, great. They got a victory with Dennis Schroder in the lineup for the Nets. They have the Celtics coming up. We'll talk a little Nets as well, feeling some positivity on that front. But we do have to begin with the Knicks, Alex, that just get a tough call. Was there some body contact there? Minimal. But I'd be very hypocritical because I have been steadfast in saying you don't make calls like that at the end of the game. The guy was, barely touched. And it's a rough loss for the Knicks, who have now lost 4 of 5. Good morning, Alex. How are you?
Good morning. Yeah, Holiday also initiated some contact with his left arm as well. So they both hit each other, and it's just a no call. Even Mike Breen, at the end of the game, said it was an awful call. It was his exact quote. I missed it. I wrote it down. He basically said, "I don't see how you make that call," and it's. I mean, that wasn't really a crazy quote, but for Mike Breen to say something like that, who's an official and always defends the officials, and everybody knows his history with Van Gundy and Mark Jackson, just defending officials all the time. It was not a call. And while he killed it on the props to him, and Alan Hahn in the post game was really smart about that as well. Props to him of saying, like, yes, there was contact, and yes, could have been a foul, ticky tack, but in that moment, you don't make that call. You just don't. And the referees right away come out and say it was a bad call. They say, and I quote, "The contact which occurred after the release of the ball therefore is incidental and marginal to the shot attempt and should not have been called." So Knicks get screwed. They go down big, 16 in the first half, 14 at the half. Bogdanovich, leads us back in the third with Brunson, who had one of the worst first halves I've ever seen him in his Knicks career, but he still has 27 points when it's all said and done.
Great
He's
fourth
a star.
quarter.
And it sucks. I mean, they're undermanned, and it's going to be hard to win some games. And this is one they shouldn't have gone down so big because they should have won even shorthanded. You had Sims back, who picked up a foul within the first 5 seconds of the freaking game. It's just no Hartenstein, of course. Again, it's just one of those Hartenstein, I should say. It's one of those things like, you can't go down so early, so big. Like Clyde always says this. He's like, once you go down so big, you have to be perfect to come back. And if you're not, then you're not gonna come back and win. And it sucked because the refs screwed the Knicks twice. It wasn't just on that call at the end of the game. On the play where Şengün drove on Precious and got the wedgie and got caught in the hoop, he took like 4 steps. It's just like, what do we like? And Thibodeau was losing his mind. And that's a bad call there. So they're not going to talk about that one. But that was another call right there. But the Knicks won the tip, and then Brunson hit the shot. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the Knicks got the ball. But that was a bad call. So it's tough. And, there was no challenges left for Tibbs at the end of the game. So they're only reviewing it to see if the foul was before the buzzer. That was frustrating. I don't know why you can't just review a final shot like a touchdown in the last 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to review it. You're not going to review if the touchdown was in before the zeros. Obviously a different sport, and it doesn't matter once the play starts. Whatever. I'm just saying, like, I'm just frustrated here because the Knicks should have won this game, and like you said, now they lost 4 or 5, and they're reeling. And you can't sit there and say, well, once we get healthy, we're going to be great. Once we get healthy, we're going to be great. Once we get healthy, don't worry. Once we get healthy, don't worry. You can't lose for 2 months straight and then just turn it on, because then you're in the play-in tournament and you might get out like really quick because you need time to gel and you need to win some damn games. And this is a game they should have won. They were the better team, even shorthanded. And now you got the Magic on Wednesday, and holy shit, this is getting out of control.
Well, pump the brakes. I wouldn't say
I'm nervous. I'm nervous, man.
I mean, and to the Rockets' point, they're playing without their Fred VanVleet, who is one of their better players, so they're missing him too. So no one's going to start a pity party for the Knicks or their fans. I'm sorry.
That's a good point.
And I'm, personally, as somebody that has watched his basketball team fall short on the biggest of stages, tough shit. You move on. You get ready for your next game. I mean, I'm not going to agree with the call, but I'm happy it happened. But
Yeah.
no shame in saying it. Knicks have lost 4 of 5, and for them, I would agree with you on a lot of fronts. With, I mean, I lived it, so it's funny. It's funny seeing the hypocrisy come back to life with the Knicks fans in just pointing out the Nets issues, which had more talent than this Knicks team, that they could never get healthy or get right and get it together. And that was from the start of training camp. This Knicks team has never seen each other all together, right? This team has never been whole or not even close. I mean, they just made these trades less than a week ago. So obviously that comes to fruition. And then OG Anunoby is never healthy. We know what's going on with Julius Randle. The center position's a mess right now for the Knicks, and they're still in these games and playing well, which is encouraging, right? When you're going into thinking about your lineup all set. But for the love of me, then I'll look at the Knicks and I think they're positioned where they could succeed and possibly make it to the finals. But the idea and this understanding of, well, once we have everybody together, we'll go ahead and beat the Celtics in 7. It's the Celtics team has been playing together.
Right.
They have continuity. They have 12 losses on the season. It's not going to just be that easy as, well, now we got all this, all the pieces back. Let's go roll. Now you're going to feel good about it. But I'm very surprised by the arrogance of, once we're together, watch out. These teams can't handle it. That to me, I've said it before, boggles my mind. I've talked about it in the past where I've never seen a fan base that is so cocky, that has done so little, and it's remarkable. It's remarkable.
But you know what? Nets fans were very cocky too. You know what I mean? You had better players on the top end that were out. No, I'm not denying, I'm not comparing Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving to OG Anunoby and Julius Randle. I'm not doing that, and Mitchell Robinson. But what I am saying is that Nets fans were cocky for years, saying once we get everybody together, and maybe not you personally,
Right.
which is why you're consistent, and this is why I like you. But it wasn't like that from all the Nets fans. It was a
True.
lot of like, we'll be fine, we'll be fine, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Rest them this game. Who gives a damn? It's February. It's March, whatever. Just rest them. Who
It
cares? We'll
matters.
play. And they played like 10 games together. And it didn't work out. I mean, they got some injuries and the toes on the line, whatever. But
But
shout out to Jalen Brunson really quick, because he was asked on New York's potential when healthy. He goes, obviously everyone sees that, but we got to focus on right now. How can we be good right now? We can't keep looking ahead and say we're going to be good. We got to be good now. I'm not worried about what the future holds. I'm worried about one game at a time and the next game. So Jalen Brunson is the man. He is not making excuses, and neither should you, Knicks fans. Let's just say that. And the Knicks are not the 1995 Rockets, who are the lowest seed ever to win the championship. They were the 6th seed. They were the champions the year before. You might have seen what happened in 1994, Mike. I don't know if you knew about that. They beat the Knicks in the finals. And in 95, they come back. They get Clyde Drexler in the middle of the season, and they're piecing it together. And they were, they fumbled into the playoffs. And they turned it on because they have one of the best players of all time, and Hakeem Olajuwon. You know the story. So the Knicks are not that. They haven't won a championship last year, and they're like, well, let's just get to the playoffs and let's see what happens. Like the Celtics used to do when they were, struggling, like the big three Celtics. They won the championship, and then they were fumbled a couple of years, got to the finals anyway, lost, whatever. It's just, you got to get together, and you have to play, at least a couple weeks fully healthy before
yeah,
you're going to be like that confident. It's blind arrogance from Knicks fans. It really is. And it's just a lot of them are just super excited. And I get that. But this is why I was not jumping for joy when the trade was made before Alec Burks and Bogdanovich. You traded Grimes, Fournier. Fournier's nothing. Whatever you traded, some second round picks. Just, it was a bunch of nothing for Burks and Bogdanovich. Well, Grimes is good. Don't get me wrong. He's an okay player, but Burks and Grimes, is there that much of a difference? I think Grimes might be a little better and more upside than Burks, but at the same time, he fills a role, and Bogdanovich is really good, 20 point per game scorer. Fine. I just wasn't throwing a parade, and people came at me like I was the worst guy in the world. I'm like, it's a good trade. They got better, but as being the best trade, and Knicks won the trade deadline and they're the greatest team now and they're going to win the championship and they're going to get to the finals and everybody should be so scared of them. And I'm just like, yo, relax. It's also funny that all the guys that Knicks fans spend years saying, this guy's an idiot, this analyst is an idiot, this analyst is an idiot. They're all about bringing it back. Look how great they're saying the Knicks are. This is great.
Yeah.
Like, well, why? Like you were just calling them an idiot the last 10 years and now you're using their point as a reference to prove your point. I don't understand that. But at the same time, it's like it was a good trade. They got better, but let's relax. You got Alec Burks, okay? Like, remember what he was when he was here. He's an okay player. Bogdanovich is really good, but you know what? The team is injured. They got to get healthy, and that's what matters the most. Like the trade helps, sure, but OG Anunoby getting surgery, that's not good. All-Star break is great for that recovery. Julius Randle, when is he coming back? I don't know. Mitchell Robinson is going to start working out after the All-Star break. That doesn't mean he's coming back after the All-Star break right away. So I'm excited because the Knicks have a lot of potential. I'm just not dealing with this blind arrogance. I'm not working with that. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been around too long for that, Mike. I've seen it all. I've seen the Nets. I've seen this. I've seen that. And I know Knicks fans are very excited, and I'm not trying to rain on the parade, but don't get mad at me when I'm just saying that I don't think it was the greatest trade in the history of mankind, like it was being portrayed.
Yeah, and I dabbled a little bit in Knicks Twitter for the last week, and had
Yeah.
really positive things to say. Like, I think this team can win a championship, which to me is a very
But they missed
big,
those tweets. They missed those tweets.
big sign of success. And when the trade went down, when Burks got dealt for Grimes, my initial thought was, you got to be kidding me. I do think Burks gives you more upside in a playoff series, which I understand, but you're bailing on one of your younger players, which I get. Now, at the time, I was like, terrible trade. Now, when Bogdanovich got included, I was like, I get it. Okay, smart deal. This is great.
Get off of
When I
Fournier.
tweeted
Yeah.
before the Bogdanovich part came in, and Nick's Twitter went at me, and went at me hard. And I was thinking about that yesterday, and I was like, if they were doing that over me making a comment about Leon Rose and a trade, what are these people doing this morning and last night at the officials in Houston?
Oh my
It
God.
must be a complete shit show. And this is one thing I want to debunk right away. People saying the league is rigged and wanted that to happen. No, what happened was there was a bad call by a human being who made a mistake that impacts your life. But don't tell me that the NBA is out to make sure that the Rockets can get the win and put the Knicks down. I mean, come on, guys.
That's why you save your
Shitty
challenges for the end of the game.
Shitty call. Shitty
If you
call.
have your challenges, you can make the call.
And on all these injuries, like OG Anunoby last year, 67 games. The year before, 48 games. The year before, 43 games. This is a track record with him. He's hurt a lot.
Championship because he was hurt.
He hurt. He's 69, 67, 74. So I would say over the last 4 or 5 years, he is constantly missing games. So this can't be like a huge shocker. And I can't tell you his injury history in Toronto and everything that went down. But there's guys that are injury prone. Kyrie Irving would consistently miss 20 to 30 games a year because he would get hurt and a myriad of other reasons.
Every playoffs also he would get hurt.
That he got hurt versus the Bucks in a bad way where he rolled his ankle. So yeah, this is par for the course, and it will be. I think it will be interesting and exciting, and I'll be nervous about it, and I think the Knicks, once full, have a legit chance with their roster. I think it's that good, but at the same time, they got to get there. They got to play with each other. That didn't come up yet. The second I said that, I just knew.
Oh, Mike. But you know what? Like,
I mean,
yeah, it's one of those situations. It might be about next season for the Knicks, because if the Knicks are all together coming into next season, I mean, you got to pay OG. But it really might be about next year. This year, it's going to be fun. You can still get to the conference finals, and no doubt. Like, I'm not throwing the towel on this year, but if everybody comes back and this roster is here for next season and they're healthy, this is going to be a fun year. But you got to pay OG, and that's going to be the thing. You know what I mean? You're obviously going to pay him, because you just traded for him. So what are you paying him? You know what I mean? Right. You're not maxing him out because you got to max out Brunson soon. You got to max out Randall soon, or what you maybe trade him. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I
don't want to talk about next season yet. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, think a lot of things clear. If the Knicks, as Knicks Twitter told me, are going to get the superstar because they kept their assets,
Of course, of course.
I think Julius Randle's in the trade. I think Randle and the picks are going to get you the guy. Now,
He's not CAA anymore, so maybe yeah.
I won't go down that road completely. But yeah, when the Knicks, I'll say it again, when the Knicks are whole, I think they have a chance if they can get some reps together. In the meantime, though, these losses do matter as much as people want to say they don't. Seeding does matter. You don't want to be the 4-5 seed. And as much as and as much as Knicks fans have no respect for the 76ers and think they will steamroll them in the playoffs, I will remind you that you want no part of a first round matchup with the Sixers with Embiid back. No part of that. As your first round matchup, you have to be out of your mind to want to deal with that. No Embiid, different conversation. But if Embiid comes back in your first round in your road to the championship is Sixers Celtics to start, that's tough. Ooh. I mean,
woof.
So
and the Cavs are good too, man.
The Cavs Bucks on the back end. I know nobody respects the Cavs.
The Cavs got that revenge factor coming too, man. They're going to come back even harder.
No Knicks fan respects the Cavs. They have. But part of me,
I'm not scared of the Cavs, but I'm not going to also diminish them. You know what I mean? I'm not scared of them because they obviously could be beat, but I'm not, whatever. And shout out to the Nets, man. That was a good trade, trading Dinwiddie for Schroder. Schroder was the perfect kind of guy to get. A Schroder or a Beverly. Yeah. They're like the same player. Somebody who's got some spunk, who's got a spine, who's going to get in people's faces and not just, go through the motions like Dinwiddie was. And now he's in with the Lakers and he can try to act like he cared the whole time. He's going to try to win a championship and he's not, so yeah. But the Nets made a good deal.
And something was really sour with Spencer Dinwiddie here in the second time around. And, getting Schroder coming off the bench and having 17 and 12 and just providing them with some floor balance, some point guard play. You saw how much they lacked that. I'm really curious to know what the hell happened with Dinwiddie here the second time around. I know he's not thrilled with the coaches when they wouldn't go to him at the end of the game, but it has to be something more rotten than that. Because I am on the verge of losing my voice again on these episodes. I don't know what the hell is happening to this thing.
Maybe we can get you some Jadakiss lyrics again.
I'm not doing any lyrics. You could feel the difference in the Nets. You could feel a little more energy. They also played one of the worst god-awful teams in the league in the Spurs, so they crushed them. But it was just nice to get a win. And yeah, Schroder gave them like I said, that floor balance, that presence on the court, got other people involved. Nets, I know we've talked a lot about the Knicks, but the Nets have been so injured and bruised up. No Lonnie Walker, no Day'Ron Sharp, no Cam Johnson. I mean, they're missing guys too. The difference is when they're missing guys, they suck. They can't win games or be in games. They need guys back to be competitive. So it's good to see some guys starting to come back. DFS, and it'll be a good learning point for the Nets to see what it's like going against, the elite team in the Eastern Conference in the Boston Celtics. What do the Nets give tonight to just make you feel a little good about if they can get into the play-in game? Because they don't have their pick. It's in Houston. You can't tank. I'm not saying the Nets are going to do anything. My prediction before the season start was they would get better as the season went on and get to 500. They're not going to get to 500, but can they get to 37 wins and get to play the Atlanta Hawks or the Chicago Bulls in the play-in and just have one night of fun? Unfortunately, that's all you're rooting for now as a Net fan, which sucks. And for younger development, like a Noah Clowney, like a Jalen Wilson, like a Cam Thomas, like a Day'Ron Sharp. But at least for a moment with that trade, you get a lot of the ickiness out of the locker room and you're feeling a little, at least more of like a normal bad team and not complete dysfunction.
Yeah. And Schroder could basically coach the team. Schroder.
I said Schroder to start. I'm sure there'll be people on Knicks and Nets Twitter yelling at me.
You idiot.
Yeah, I am. No. First of all, I'm trying my best. All right. I'm giving it all. I just want to give a formal apology to Knicks Twitter for pissing them off so much. And it
doesn't take much, man. It doesn't take much.
I actually, this morning, I was like, I feel bad. Not bad, but I am scared for the officials because Knicks Twitter is going to go after them. And, that can be a very tough place. I
would love to be a ref and just have a burner account and just talk.
I'm sure it happens. It happens. It
Yeah.
happens. Oh, it happens. That I'm just saying the Nets were able to go beat the Rockets the other night. Nets had no
Mm.
problem with it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
Granted,
it's 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 a tough
being
spot. I
silly.
mean, I know. I mean, the Nets are, they're gonna be around that playing, like you said, and
Yeah.
then you never know what's
Simmons
gonna happen
healthy.
there.
I mean, he's
Simmons
not
is
great.
is the key because if he can play,
He
then
gives him
give you
minutes.
15, 20 games so you can try to win like half of them. Maybe you'll make the play. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just, you never know with
It
him.
occurred. It
Um,
occurred to me watching Josh Hart play that he's just like a much better version of Ben Simmons all around. Just
well,
at least could.
Simmons is obviously more skilled,
Yeah, but I mean, I
but
would
like,
take
yeah.
Hart in a second
Oh yeah,
over
no, Josh
Simmons.
Hart is really good.
He the way he pushes
It's
the tempo in transition.
little things. They don't show up in the stat sheet, Mike. The
No,
little
but I mean they
things.
do. He's like averaging like a triple double since half the roster went down.
Right, right.
And yesterday I would feel good about him at least showing some confidence in his jumper. You saw like in that Laker game when he would shoot threes, it was like, should I shoot? Should I not shoot?
Yeah,
Clank. Here he made shots. It was in rhythm, and him making jumpers is key for some of this Knicks success, especially when things get tight late. I think you got to feel good about that if you're a Knicks fan. DiVincenzo took 702 threes. I wonder how that will change once they're full because he's like 5 for 17, 8 for like he's taking a million 3-point shots
right.
out of necessity. Brunson cooking at the end in the fourth quarter, making the big shot with 8 seconds left to
He's so
tie the
good.
game,
Yeah.
making the big shot to cut it from 4-3. Clearly, even with the bad start, you trust him completely when it matters at the end.
Superstar,
But
man. Yeah. He
Rockets
really
have some
is.
nice pieces, some nice young players as well. You can see they're much better coached than they've been.
How about Jeff Green, man, still in the league? I saw him. I'm like,
We won
oh
a
shit,
title last year.
I forgot he was still. No, but I just like totally like for some reason I spaced on him, and they were like Jeff Green. I'm like Jeff Green,
I know.
like really, like I
Still,
just yeah, no, shout out to him, man. Keeps going. He's like
think
the Vince Carter.
it's yeah. I mean, it's
He's
true.
like 38, 37. I don't know what he is, but
Remember when he signed with the Nets?
yeah,
And that was before. That was the first season post COVID
mm.
when the Nets had Hart traded for Harden. He was on that team,
He had some
and
dunks,
everybody
some
was like,
big
"He's
dunks.
old."
Yeah,
He did. And I
yeah,
love Jeff was one of my favorite Nets. No,
yeah. He was old then, right? 5 years ago, he was
I know he's
old.
just always been old. He's always been Uncle Jeff. He's always been old.
Yeah, what
Yeah,
would you think about the Super Bowl, man? The Chiefs said people doubted the Chiefs, and they still
never
win
doubt the
after all
Chiefs.
that. Yeah,
Never doubt the
never.
Chiefs. Don't doubt Mahomes.
Yeah,
Don't
he's
doubt
your homes.
Mahomes.
Yeah,
You knew when the Niners got 3 in overtime and the Chiefs got the ball. You're like,
it was over. Yeah,
see
and of
ya.
course it's Mecole Hardman. The ex-Jets had him for like a few weeks, and then they cut him because of the emergence of what the hell's his name? Punt returner who was now a slot receiver. The Jet. I can't. I'm not in football mode. I can't think of his
And how
name.
about at the end? How about the Hard Knocks moment
Yes.
where it's predicting the Super Bowl versus the 49ers? Granted,
Yes,
he's
yes,
on a
yeah,
different
yeah.
team now.
31-21 and said you're gonna win the Super Bowl. And yeah.
Like, how does that
Xavier
happen?
Gibson, that was it. I had to Google it because it was driving me crazy. So Gibson took his job as a slot receiver, and Harden was getting no targets, and the Jets are like, all right, we'll release you because you're not doing anything here. And of course, he catches a game-winning catch in the Super Bowl. So of course in overtime,
It was just a
it's
friendly reminder for Jet fans who, at that point, I'm sure you're not
kicking the
really
nuts. Yeah,
thinking about your team as much and more in the moment of this game. I mean,
right.
I do think there's fantasies that happen where you're like, oh, could you imagine if this was my team in this moment? You're getting excited.
Yes,
But you're not really thinking about the Jets. But then it's just like, how could you not? How
right.
could you not hear that touchdown and go, oh, you got to be fucking kidding me?
Yeah, no, and of course the Jets, the moment, like literally the moment the Super Bowl ended, like 5 minutes later, they drop a tweet that new uniforms are coming out next year. They're gonna make the legacy uniforms their official uniforms, the white, the old '80s Jets logo and the white face mask, and they're gonna have green version, a jersey and pants, and a
Why?
black version. Just getting rid of that bullshit
No, but
Sam
why
Darnold
then?
logos because they wanted to change the topic because Hardman caught the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, but
You know
don't
what I
they?
mean?
The funny part is they don't realize that they're going to end up getting more shit
Of
for this
course.
and not
Woody Johnson's a moron, dude. Like, he's
like their
not a
whole thought.
businessman.
Oh, let's change the attention. But no, I mean, fans aren't dumb. They're going to be like, you did this now. You
Yeah.
couldn't wait.
Like
Don't you
literally look at the time
understand
when the
what
game
just
ended.
happened? We're watching history with one of the greatest athletes in American sports put on another fantastic performance that will go into his Hall of Fame locker. And that's what you're doing. It's just
it's clown. They're the Jets are the Nets of football. You know what I mean? They're just like do all the things the wrong way.
No, you're right. I mean the Nets suck.
Just
man.
don't know how to do the PR thing. Doesn't really work very well for the Jets. Just not very smart with that kind of stuff.
Oh, well,
but listen, the jerseys are good. They should have never changed the jerseys from the ones they had. And I hated the jerseys, but and fans love them. And now all of a sudden they're like, these are the worst jerseys. Like I remember, like I'm not gonna. It's not worth it my time to pull up tweets from those times. But like everybody was all over the moon with those jerseys and these uniforms. I'm like, these are awful. Like you know what I mean? I wanted to keep the classic ones that they had. But you know what? These are fine because it's the Jets. It looks like the Jets. You know what I mean? It was like the 80s were an okay time for the Jets in the playoffs a few times and got to an AFC championship game and it's like all right, we can bring these back. The 90s ones with the black face mask I didn't love. Those were like the Kotite era uniforms, and we're not bringing those back. But these are clean. I like it. They look like the Jets. So you get my approval,
Alex likes it. Hey, we look like the Jets.
Yes. Isn't it great to actually look like the team that you are?
No, true. Which is you got me talking about bad ownership. I'm scared tonight. It's going to be all Celtic fans again.
Oh, it is. And everybody's going to point it out.
No, now it's a thing now. Now it's a thing now. Even if it's just like a brief moment where there's like a loud cheer or pop.
15 fans just get on the camera.
It doesn't matter. It's now a thing. But I'll say this too.
Yeah.
Net fans are pointing it out also. Like true net fans that are mad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and
I'll embarrass them now, right?
I'll use myself as a prime example. Who got offered to go to a game and had an opportunity, and it was just like, it's just like the motivation to want to do it, especially it's like a far drive and got a rearranged family. Like I'm not going to go see this. I personally have no interest in paying to see the Nets. Like why would I and if I feel that way, and I know I'm not at a point in my life right now where it's just easy to get to the Barclays Center because of
a lot of coordinating,
right? But it's just not. I just like, see you, honey. Just it's not that simple. There's like life that has to go into it.
Yeah.
So I do understand that. Now, if I was 25, single, live 30 minutes away, probably a little bit different.
Yeah.
But my motivation right now to get in that building is at a zero. Like to pay to go in there, and if I feel that way. If there's people that are also diehard Net fans, they don't want to spend money in there. And because the Nets are so desperate to fill the building, they're giving away tickets. And what happens is you have other fans and you have people that have no damn clue what's happening in there. So it sounds, like a funeral home because it's so quiet. And then you have the other fans cheering. And it's a recipe for a disaster. And it's going to continue to happen. And when you have a legacy franchise like the Celtics, come in where you have a great passionate fan base, that's going to happen, right? Like when the Hornets come in or the Pistons come in, it's just going to sound like a dud
They're
until
dead teams anyway. Yeah.
But if you bring in the Celtics, you bring in the Knicks, we're the prime example because the fan base is in the same area.
The Sixers,
name those teams, it's going to sound bad. Although there were some chants for Schroder, which were weird. So
hey, listen, he's a fun guy, man. He's going to get you excited. You're going to love him. Yeah, I love Schroder. And I love Beverly. Those
you hate Dinwiddie.
I hate Dinwiddie. But and there's a lot of Boston people in New York City that live in New York City working. Of course. Because, business takes you to New York City. You might be from Boston, but you get this great job in New York. And now you're a Celtics fan in New York and they're playing the Nets and it's cheap tickets. Let's go to the game. You know what I mean? Then you got all your jerseys on and all.
So embarrassing.
And the Sixers, they can just take the train right to Penn Station and take the train from Penn Station right to Barclays. It's very easy if you really want to go. If you're not, here and you're from Philadelphia. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Which is why, Alex, I've always said this. Like to me, I would be way more interested right now, specifically, to see Nets Knicks at the Garden because Nets going to MSG. All the pressure's on the Knicks. It's the team that's fighting for a championship. Can't be losing to a team that's fighting for the play-in. And then you go to the Garden, and I expect it to be the Knicks fans. There's going to be Net fans. They're going to be there because of the proximity. Obviously, there's going to be Net fans in the building. but there's not going to be this like pressure of, oh no, the Knicks fans are taking over. It'll be
Right.
more, Nets go up, 73, 80, 67, and a bunch of us start cheering. It's like, it's on you. And that to me sounds more exciting than coming into the Barclays Center and being
And it's easier.
overtaken. Well, it's much easier.
Yeah, because it's Penn Station's right there. Like,
Well, yeah,
just figure that you walk upstairs and you're at the garden.
which is so frustrating because as a kid, it was like, what was easier, driving to the Meadowlands 20
Right.
minutes or
Right.
going to Penn? But now Penn has become the easier destination than Barclays,
Well,
which
it would have been
is
easier
a
if the Nets
nightmare.
moved to like Staten Island. You know what I mean? Like then it'd be easier for Jersey people to get to Staten Island. You know what I mean? Like going to Brooklyn made like the New Jersey Net fan like so isolated.
It's
Like,
hard.
oh my God, you gotta go all the way to fucking Brooklyn.
But
Like
it is
you know,
difficult. I mean,
it is.
it is. I mean, from it's
You
a
can't drive
bajillion.
there.
I mean,
You can,
I drive
but
from
it's
here, and it's
yeah,
the Verrazano Bridge,
yeah.
and then it's
Which
all
is
these
like
tolls.
$100.
By the time we get, and I refuse to pay to park, so I park along Fifth Avenue and just like walk a mile, and
Right,
just
right.
I just refuse to do it.
Plus, it's
Which
easier. You don't have to get it in the gridlock of getting out of there.
yeah.
It's just,
Although when I took my 3-year-old and it was like
yeah.
10:15 at night,
Well, yes,
and I'm
yeah.
carrying him a mile, and
Oh, you
I was
didn't
like,
pay for parking even with 3
no, I carried him. This might be breaking news to my family.
Yeah, don't tell your wife.
I was like Ryan. I couldn't make him walk.
This is life, Ryan.
So I carried him and we ran.
Yeah.
My biceps the next day were pumping from
Right.
holding, a 35-pound human for a mile. My arms were just like,
Yeah.
I
Next
felt-
time you gotta splurge for the parking next
I
time.
know.
When you take Ryan.
I just did it.
I hear you. I hear you.
just carried him.
I feel you, man, on going to a Nets game from New Jersey and paying for all that. It's like going to a Jets game when they're so bad. Like I grew up going to Jets games and I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. But I'm not paying. I don't have season tickets anymore, and I'm not paying hundreds of dollars to go to the Jets game and watch a 1-9 team get their ass kicked. Like, you know what I mean? No, thank you. You know what I mean? It has to be a game worth it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, football can be fun unless it's like I get a group of like 5 or 6 friends and we go and we just tailgate and have a good time.
Yeah,
That's one
party.
thing. I would do that, but I'm not gonna just go, hey, honey, you want to go to the Jets game? Like, no, it's 5 degrees outside. Like,
There were some Sundays
yeah,
where for whatever reason the Jets games hit on like the worst weather
the
Sundays.
rain every Sunday.
Rain. Like, and I was like, there is nothing. I mean, I just said nothing. I was like, could you imagine? Here's your 2 options: sit at home as it's starting to snow.
Right.
Here's your 2 options: sit at home on a Sunday, watch 8 hours of football in your, warm, heated home,
Ordering pizza or
whatever.
wings. Yeah.
or sit outside for 4 hours with commuting on the front end and back end of a couple hours and being soaking wet to watch the Jets.
Pay $45 for parking.
That is, put that day on loop as your day from hell.
Right.
No
you
offense.
have to go. Only people that are going are the people that had season tickets already, and they're like, "Fuck it, I'm going to eat these tickets." I might as well go. Kind of a thing. But like, I've taken the train to the game before. It is awful. Like you got to go, especially if you come. Let's say you go from Long Island, which is what I used to do. Let's say you're just coming from Penn Station. You got to go to Penn Station, and then from Penn Station, you got to take Jersey Transit to Secaucus. And then from Secaucus, you have to get on another train where you're packed with like 100 fucking people, like in one car. You're standing really close, like within 6 inches of each other. It's you really get to know your fellow fan that way. And it was awful. I went to one, it was a Jets Monday night game. It's probably 15 years ago. And it was delayed by like lightning and thunder or something like that. But like I'm on the train and oh my God, like because I worked in Limbrook on Long Island at the time. My dad and my sister had we had the season tickets. So my dad and my sister were at the game. They were just driving there and going to meet me there. I was like, all right, I'll take the train. It's no big deal. I'll just go because I worked right next to Limbrook train station. I'm like, this is easy. And I took it to the to Penn Station, and then I walked in. I'm like, what the like? I'm never doing this again. You know what I mean? It was an awful. I did it one other time with like a group of friends. My friends are from Indy and went to a Jets Colts game, whatever. But I was like, I'm never doing this by myself again. This is awful.
People always ask me like, why were you a Net fan and not a Knick fan? I think of its simplicity and its core.
Yeah.
My dad loved basketball.
Right.
My dad was a Laker fan growing up because he grew up in Los Angeles. So he's a big Laker fan, but he loved basketball. Right. So for him, it was like, let's see some basketball. It's a 15-minute drive and the tickets are so cheap. He works in the city all day. He's like, this is what we're doing. It's
bonds
just
with his son over something,
yeah,
and it's
and
not like
it's over.
it's not like he became a Celtics fan. He's like Lakers fan,
No,
and it was like the Nets. Like there's like no connection to them.
no,
It's
yeah,
like
it's
whatever.
easy. It's like
But he
let's see
radicalized
Charles
himself.
Barkley. Let's see,
So in the
Hakeem
finals, was he
Olajuwon.
rooting for the Lakers or was he rooting?
No, they were a diehard Net fan at that point.
Yeah,
Totally
yeah,
converted. It's
yeah.
like Dolan J. Trump.
Right, right. But at least he did it because of his son and having a bond
Yeah.
with his son, not because of a Twitter account.
No,
You know what I mean?
there was no Twitter in
No, I know.
1996 or
It's
whatever.
a little bit of a difference where your son loves it and you want to bond with him and you have a great time. And it's like, I get that. That's what me and my dad did with the Jets and my sister,
Yeah, that's
So
the
it's
best.
just like, it's our thing. It's our family thing.
It is funny though. Anytime now we go, like if we're out
Yeah.
at a restaurant and there's basketball on TV, my son just thinks it's the Nets.
Nets,
He thinks all basketball is the Nets. He doesn't know that there's like other teams. He's like, oh, the Nets are on. I'm like, yes.
Well, it just shows, Mike, that you don't watch any other basketball. You just watch the Nets. So
That's
you
not
shouldn't
true.
talk about other teams. No, I'm kidding.
That's not true. I watched some St. John's.
St. John's.
I don't watch St. John's. I watched the
I
Knicks.
thought I'd be so much more into
watching
St.
the
John's
Knicks.
this year, by the way. I went into the season like I'm gonna watch St. John's, but with the baby and there's only so much time to watch games, I'm like St. John's is not making the cut.
It's priority. Gotta.
Maybe I'll watch them in March. You know what I mean? Like, come
It's
down the road, I'll
That's
get into them. I'm a huge St. John's fan. This year I couldn't get into it. You know what I mean? And so it is what.
Well, yeah, it's that it's
they gotta
pick and choose your spots, man.
Right. And sometimes I just want to watch a TV show. Not watch
Yes,
basketball.
of course.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes, you need to have balance.
Yes, balance.
I'm all about balance. But
Yes.
we'll end with this. I did see though you did cash in on your
yes,
bad weather fans Chiefs bet. So congrats.
Yes, use promo code BWF, and I bet $55 before the playoffs for the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl because the odds were amazing.
And
I won $605. It's great. Always like, oh man, I should have bet more.
Well, of course.
I could have because I the Steelers were like the crazy odds. So I put $10 on them.
So did I.
just used the $10 and I would have had $65 and I would have won even more. What does that go into? Plus $1,165.
Well, the Steelers were hot getting into to make the playoffs, but then
they weren't going to win the Super Bowl. It was one of those like
why not?
Yeah, like it could win $10,000.
Yeah, my wife's a Steeler fan. We had my in-laws around, so I was like, let me get not that I'd be rooting against the Steelers.
A little more skin in the game.
Yeah, just now we're all we're all together on this.
One big happy kumbaya family.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
I mean, it didn't work.
Oh, that's sweet, Mike. That is sweet.
Not that the Steeler fan needs. They've seen a lot of success.
Right. Fuck. Honestly, I hate the Steelers. One of my teams that I hate the most.
Yeah, the worst Steelers seasons in the last 20 years is like the best Jet season. It's a little extreme.
It's like in the last 10 years, yeah.
But it's like the Steelers were, made the playoffs, and they're like, we got to fire Tomlin. Meanwhile, like if the Jets had that kind of success, it'd be
fucking
throwing a parade.
Right? Yeah. No, listen. It's. I don't want to get into all Jets right now, but it's.
Please
it's
don't.
A joke. It's a joke. So let's see what happens. Another year, the same old shit for the Jets. You know all the stories, but at least we got new uniforms, so it's cool. The uniforms are nice. I gotta say, I might actually buy one.
We heard you the first time.
So
it worked, nice. Woody. You happy there, Woody?
Yes.
Also, anybody that tweet
I'll buy the backup quarter, whoever they get as their backup quarterback, whether it's like Mitch Trubisky or somebody like that. I'll just buy that jersey because then he's going to be playing by like this first half of the second half of the first game. If Rodgers gets hurt again.
Yeah. Oh man,
that'd be fun.
You're living the net life with the Jets.
I am,
and Rodgers is back, but you got no choice.
One more year, man. One more year. You gotta go all in. One more year. You have no choice. You really don't. You can't get out of it right now. And he's not retiring. So
tweet me at Mike Delivers Pod if you heard my line that slipped out by accident when I was talking about the Knicks needing to play with each other. So if you got all the way through the podcast, tweet me that.
And let us know if it's Schroder or Schroder. It's kind of like Thibodeau and Thibodeau. Like which one is it? Schroder or Schroder?
Oh man,
whatever.
It's tough, man. Don't make mistakes.
Don't make mistakes. Everybody on Twitter is perfect. You know that, Mike. Every single person who's on Twitter has never made a mistake. They've never misspoke. They've never said anything that they need to apologize by.
Angry.
Always angry. Always angry.
Angry.
But also, if you have a perception of being angry all the time, everybody reads your tweets as you're angry. Even if you're just saying it's a good trade, but it's not the best trade I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not throwing a parade. Then you're the worst fan. You're not a fan anymore. Obviously, I'm not a Knicks fan anymore because of that, because I didn't throw a parade. Just so you know.
The Raptors getting Kawhi. Now, they didn't re-sign him, but that won them a title. That's a good trade.
That's a very good trade, I'd say. Yes.
We'll see what happens with the Clippers. James Harden.
Yeah. We'll see.
That'll be interesting. Now the
Clippers are
Celtics
rolling.
traded for the Nets unprotected picks that turned into Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Good trade.
Good trade. Good trade. Yes.
Good trade.
Yeah.
The Blazers dealing, I can do all net trades. Gerald Wallace for the 6th pick that turned into the all-time Blazer and Damian Lillard. Good trade.
The Knicks trading Gallinari, Wilson Chandler, Mozgov for Melo, I think was a pretty good trade too. That's what I think. Probably gave up a little too many picks in the future, those protected picks in the future that kind of screwed them, but it was a good trade, I'd say.
Bring back Gallo.
I would do that, honestly.
He'll never play. I mean, he can't move anymore.
But let him come out there, and if you need him to pop a three, and pop a three. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I would bring back Robin Lopez, just get another body. He got cut, but I don't think he's gonna. I think he's gonna resign with the Bucks at some point. I don't know if they can or not, but whatever.
Hey, the Knicks just need to get healthy at the center position. It's just,
but like,
gotta get healthy.
It's okay to get a body in there. I don't know. Like they have roster spots open. Like what? Like it is what it is. I mean, like
they will. They will. I mean, they have 3 spots, right? They're gonna get something.
Two or three. I think it's 2. I have no idea.
Knicks are in a good position once they.
But they're gonna convert. They're going to convert Taj to full. Like he's on his second 10-day. Obviously, he's going to get converted for the rest of the year, and then that's probably why they're not bringing in Robin Lopez. But a guy like that, like why not?
We started this podcast with the foul call on Jalen Brunson, which did turn into a Rockets victory. Nets play the Celtics tonight. We head into the All-Star break soon. Knicks one more game. They've got the Orlando Magic. And then the Nets, Boston tonight. We'll see what happens. See if the Nets can get the win on the road with the Celtic fans invading the Barclays Center. We'll see how that turns out.
It'll be a close game. I'll just put it that way. Which means
I think the Nets will play hard and hang around as well. I don't think they're. I agree. I think the Nets will play hard and hang around. They just don't have the firepower.
They don't have the horses, Mike. They don't have the horses.
They will lose 121 to 112.
Right. So you're picking against the Nets, so that means you're a fake fan, just so you know, as according to Knicks Twitter. That makes you a fake fan.
Well, they're playing the Celtics.
It doesn't matter. You're picking against your favorite team.
If they have the Pistons at home, I mean, I might have a different opinion. I mean, I probably still would pick against them.
What are the odds on that? I want to see what the odds on this game are.
Let me guess. Okay. Now, health matters with Boston because this could easily be a
rest game.
We're resting Porzingis. We're resting Holiday.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
but if I had to guess based on where the Nets are, I know Cam Johnson's not playing, but Day'Ron Sharp's back.
DraftKings odds
I would say Boston 7.
Close. Actually, Nets are getting 8.5.
Okay. So I was too kind.
You were. But we'll see. That can change, obviously.
Then what did I say the final score would be?
I don't know.
121, 112. So that's 9. So I guess why did I say that? That should be my odds. That's what I thought it was.
Idiot, Mike. So you were right. See, you said it, 9 points. So you're taking the Nets, you know.
All right. Bad Weather Fans, episode 208. Download, check it out.
Please.
We're on YouTube as well. But Alex,
what?
We'll talk to you later, man. Have a great rest of your day.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.